Hello, friends. Welcome to the very first episode of my brand new podcast, The Dylan Baird Show. Today's episode is going to be all about New Year's resolutions and some big changes that are coming.
The Dylan Baird Show!
Hey everyone, so as I had said, today's episode is going to be about New Year's resolutions and just basically starting the new decade off. I guess my general thoughts on New Year's resolutions is that they don't really work. I had tried to do them in the past, and I'd always kind of just put half of my effort in as what I probably should have, and it never really went beyond the first week into the new year, and I feel that that's probably because, I don't think there's really anyone that has a whole lot of success with New Year's resolutions, and if there are, please tell me how. But I feel like the one reason that we fail is because when the new year starts, I feel like people go into it with, oh, it's a new year, it's a new me. You've probably seen that before. And I don't know that that's the right way to think of it. Because sure, it's a clean slate on the calendar, but there's still the residue from the previous year. There's still the way you are, and there's still there's still all the bad habits that you'd want to break, and just assuming that those will all go away and you'll be able to do better just because the calendar year changes, I feel is kind of unreasonable. And I don't know if that's just me, but I feel that wouldn't really work. But I guess the reason this year that I chose to actually put some effort into resolutions is because there are things about me that I'd like to change and do better, and I feel like the new year's a good time to start with that, but I'm not going to start it how I had in the past. I'm not going to say the whole other year's behind us. We can just start completely new and different. I feel that for any resolutions to work, you have to build from where you were in the previous year. I guess I should probably say what some of my resolutions are. I'd like to get more sleep. I'd like to work out more. I'd like to be more productive and get stuff done faster and more efficiently, so then I can have more creative time, which is one of my New Year's resolutions. Be with friends more is on there as well. And in general, I feel that just having more, you can't have more time, but more time would be helpful. So I feel that it's just having to do better at managing the time that I already have. And I feel that it would be, I gotta stop saying I feel that it would be beneficial if I were to track these goals, but they're all very open-ended goals, so it's kind of hard to tell when you've succeeded, when your goals are broad and completely general. There it is again. I feel that it would be more productive in the way of accomplishing goals if you were able to set a more clear set of goals, so that you can have that sense of accomplishment when you can cross something off that list. And I feel that a way to do that is make a clear plan. In my case, they're all kind of open-ended, and at the moment I feel like I don't have enough time in a day to do everything I can, but the way I usually get more time is I don't sleep, which ends up sacrificing the next day's time. So I feel that in order to accomplish these goals, I would have to make better use of the time, because you can't make your days longer. You just have to make the time count for more. And I feel that I'm not really sure there's obviously the main distractions, as with most people, but I'm not really sure how my day is divided. What is divided to eating, sleeping, self-care, like showering, um, eating, stuff like that. I don't know. I think I already said. I don't know. I don't know how much would be dedicated to that, and I feel that a way to more accurately more accurately create goals is if you know where you already are. Because like, you can't start trying to do better if you don't know where you're starting even. So I feel that these next few weeks, right after the new year, I'm going to be trying to track what I do more. Like when I find myself like distracted and going on my phone, and when I am eating, and when I am actually working and getting stuff done, and when I'm just sitting zoned out, like not actually getting anything done. And I feel that if I can reduce some of that like time wasted where I'm just sitting zoned out, not really doing anything, then I would be able to not so much as create more time, but just create better time, and where that time that I'm using is better used. And I feel like the whole New Year's resolutions thing, there's people that always say, "Oh, I want to start going to the gym," and I feel that that works for some people, but without having a real clear, structured plan, it's going to be very difficult to actually stick to those resolutions. And that's why they've become almost like a laughing stock, is because it takes a lot of effort to get them to work the way that we have them in our minds. I feel the way most people think about New Year's resolutions is they're a completely new person and they just starting over. Well, that's not how the new year works. You're still at the same spot. The only thing that changes is the calendar year. So if we can change our thinking about the new year, then we'll be able to change the way we make our goals and the way we structure our resolutions. And one of the resolutions I forgot is to be like keeping up with my podcasting and like continue that. Hold on 1 second, just gotta grab some water. Now that I've successfully spilled water on myself, one of the problems I've been having with podcasting is either my voice dies out halfway through like it just did, or I will be not able to come up with a topic for a podcast. And one thing that I had wanted to do is I had wanted to do a podcast every week for the year 2020, so that at the end of the year I could say that I kept that resolution. But it's proven to be fairly difficult to come up with ideas. And I feel like once I get the ball rolling with this, and once I do a few more, it'll start coming more naturally. And I really hope that I can stick with this. And one thing that has proven to be incredibly useful so far is... Oh, actually, I guess I shouldn't say it now. One thing that I want to keep going along with my podcast, it's actually a podcast segment. It's called Thing of the Week. Thing of the Week. Thing of the Week. It's time for the Thing of the Week. So in case you couldn't tell by that stunning intro, I didn't really plan on doing this topic or this segment yet. I'd planned on putting a little bit more thought into it, but it doesn't seem that complicated. Besides making a intro song, it's fairly self-explanatory. I got the idea from the Evan and Caitlin podcast, which I listen to quite a bit. It's basically where the podcast host talks for a little bit about one thing that has, I guess, it's obviously their thing of the week. They choose something that has benefited their life in some way over the week. And I feel like I would be lying if I said it was anything besides like my pen and notebook. As much as, well, it sounds like a pretty basic thing, but I went to a dollar store and just bought myself like this cheap notebook for the podcast, just specifically for the podcast. All my ideas, topics, scripts, everything goes in this one notebook. And it has come, well, I currently have it open just so I don't miss any of the things I wanted to cover. But I had actually never used a notebook this much before for anything besides like schoolwork, and it has actually been so helpful. And that is what makes just a paper and a pen my thing of the week. Now with the thing of the week out of the way, I'm kind of wondering if the thing of the week should maybe be a chiropractor. I just stood up and my back cracked in a whole bunch of spots. With the thing of the week out of the way, we will now, I guess, move on to the other topics I wanted to cover today, which is why did I decide to do a podcast? I listen to a lot of podcasts in daily life, whether I'm like working out or just working or on my way to bed. I'm listening to podcasts. Whether there are a few of my go-to podcasts are the Joe Rogan Experience. Evan and Caitlin show is pretty good. I just have like a few go-to podcasts that I'll listen to when I'm getting stuff done, and it's a unique experience because it lets you it feels more of a connection than watching like a YouTube video or something, because all there is the person's voice, and it's like you can feel their ideas more. Whereas if you just had video, you could very easily be distracted by jump cuts and like fancy edits, music, what have you. But when it's just voice and it's just the podcast, then you really just get a sense for like what they're trying to say, and you can really just connect with what they're saying. And I feel that, well, another reason that I'm interested in getting into the podcast space is not only that, but when you have video, there are people that are going to be like seeing, well, people will see everything. They'll see what you look like, what your studio or your set looks like. And I feel that the podcasting space is unique in that the only thing there is voice. So the only way for you to really I could be sitting here in my pajamas for all you know. I'm totally not. Wink. You can really just relax and just talk, and it feels more connected to, I don't know if this is making any sense. It just seems like a really cool like media space, I guess. And that it just lets you feel more connected to what you're listening to. And I hope that as I get better at these podcasts and as I get better equipment, the next one should be with the new microphone. It's on the way. But as I get better at these podcasts, I hope that I can develop that sense of like being able to really connect with the audience and really explain what I'm trying to say in a way that makes sense and is clear. And I feel that it's easier to do that with a podcast than with a video, because there's less distraction, and it will let your listeners learn while they're doing other things. They don't have to be watching you to know what you're doing. They can listen in while they're like mowing the lawn or while they're doing day-to-day things, and you can still get your message across. And I feel that that's what makes podcasting so cool. And that brings us to the end of our episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you did not, well, you know what to do. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message at Dylan Baird Media on Instagram. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for listening in today. I'm your host, Dylan Baird, and I hope to catch you in the next one.